Going from absolutely nothing to something in your SaaS journey is one of the toughest parts. It's one of the biggest reasons why I love working with SaaS founders, because it takes a certain level of grit, certain level of mindset, certain level of intellect to actually navigate that journey. I call this journey the Shawshank Crawl to product market fit, because very few make it through, and the ones that do are incredibly triumphant. In this video, I'm gonna actually dig into the 4 key questions you need to ask yourself every single week to actually navigate the path to product market fit effectively. Intro. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Unstoppable. I'm TK. On this channel, I help SaaS founders like you navigate the path to the next stage of growth and navigate the path to product market fit. So if you're new to the channel, be sure to hit the subscribe button and that bell icon. I drop a video like this every Sunday, Wednesday, and Friday with the TK energy. Also, if you're already part of our community, if you're part of our Legion, welcome back. It's really great to have you here. Now, there's a statistic that I talk about with all the founders that I coach and that I work with, and I've mentioned it in a few of my videos in this YouTube channel. 96% of seed stage startups never go into the Series A, meaning they can raise money, they can raise a seed round, that's after a pre-seed, they can raise a seed round, and they can build a product, build a website, they can get out there, maybe generate some revenues, but they'll never graduate to a Series A. That means only 4% do. Now look, we all know in this game that the likelihood of success is very low. 50% of it is luck, but the other 50% is actually following the right frameworks to actually ask the basic questions that you need to stress test you on a routine basis and be disciplined about it. That's that other 50%. So in this episode, I'm gonna dig into the 4 questions that you need to be asking yourself every single week so that you can actually navigate the path effectively, and also so that you're part of that 4% that graduates to the Series A. So if you're excited to dig into it, go ahead and smash that like button and let's get started. So I break this down into these 4 questions. The first is the who, then it's the what, then it's the how, and then it's the testing. And I believe that if you just follow this, then it's all you need to actually navigate this path to product market fit. Now, I'll warn you that this is fairly simple. It's not some complicated framework. If you were looking for something incredibly complicated, that's not what I'm about. I distill it down to the absolute essentials that you need to follow. Because if you do that, that's really all it takes. But simple is not easy. Simple is actually very hard. It requires discipline. It requires the right mindset. It also requires you to be able to divorce yourself from the idea that you have and marry yourself to the market you want to serve. So let's dig right into these and you'll get more of the gist of this. The first thing, the most important thing you need to ask yourself every week, every month, when you're actually looking at your numbers, when you're navigating this path to product market fit, is who. Who is the biggest question? And I've talked about this in prior episodes before. Who are you serving? What is the market you're in? And that should translate into some aspect of your ideal customer profile and the macro trends that you're driving for in your market. What that means is great SaaS businesses are built on great markets, and you're very, 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 especially in the early stages, very specific on the who, on the actual initial customer profile, not even the ideal customer profile. If you can really narrow down on this, or you can actually consciously test 2 or 3 of these, then you're more likely to succeed, because you'll know exactly how to talk to these people. I've been part of startups. I've tried to build companies before ToutApp. I had Brain Trust, I had Recommend, I had Main Street, and none of those worked. And the reason none of those worked was because the who wasn't a clear answer. There wasn't a clear answer of who. It was too big, it was too wide, there was too many people involved, and it ended up being neither here nor there. ToutApp was very, very specific, even in the beginning. We got even more specific down the line. It was so specific, that's why it took off a lot faster. 50% of it was luck, and 50% of it was me following this framework. So the most important question is who? Who are you serving? Before you think about the features, you may come up with a great product idea. It's like, what would be cool if it did this, and this? And your best friend's like, oh my God, that'd be awesome. We should add AI to it. And you're like, we should totally add AI to it. But the most important question is not the cool idea, but it's the who. Why would they use this? Who are these people? What are the big macro trends driving the need for them to use it? Once you narrow that down, the next question you need to answer is the what. The what is the urgent and important problem that you're serving for the who. Now you might chuckle with this. You might be like, oh my God, TK, is this like product management kindergarten? Yes, it is. This is super simple stuff, but simple is hard. It requires discipline. That's why 96% of seed stage companies never graduate to the Series A. All right, I don't know how else to say this. I made the same mistakes and I'm a pretty smart guy. I made the same mistakes. This is simple, but we are not disciplined enough to always follow it. So I know this sounds simple, but you really got to look at the who. And I feel silly for even putting these up sometimes, but I'm like, this is it. This is the one thing I would tell baby TK if I were to go back and be like, listen, dude, stop with brain trust. Focus on the who and the what. Like, that's what you really need to do. And so figure out what your who is, and then go into the what, which is what is the urgent and important problem that you are solving for this group of people. Are you guys getting this? Okay, now let me just pause here for a second. If you're starting to see the power in this, if you're like, just release judgment for a second, embrace 50% luck, and then the other 50% of just true discipline on this, can you just start to see how much more powerful your process will be to navigating to product market fit? How much just like you're gonna be able to actually have control, a little bit more control over the process. You'll be able to understand if you're going in the right direction. If you can start to see that, smash that like button for the YouTube algorithm. And if you're brave enough, hit me with a yes below so that I know you're with me. Also, if you are in this stage where you're building out your SaaS business, I believe every SaaS business should have a one-page strategy. So I have my 5-point startup strategy guide. It goes much deeper into these concepts. I'll tell you more about it at the end of this video. I'll link to it below. Okay, now let's go back to this. The next thing, once you've actually figured out the who and the what, the next thing that you really want to dig into is the how. Now, the how is what are the core features, like what does your product really look like? Here's the thing though, most of us, this is what happened with me with Brain Trust and Recommend and Main Street. I started with the how and then tried to back into the who and skipped over the what. But the right set of steps is who do I want to serve? And then what are the actual important and urgent problems that these people have? And then it's what is the product and how do we actually solve that important and urgent problem? And the most important thing about this is it's less so about features, it's about loops. People don't care about software. What they care about is getting a certain result. It just so happens that software effectively helps them do that. So don't think about adding all these billions of features. In fact, most successful startups, when they first started, they looked like toys. They didn't have all the bells and whistles, but they still got that market traction. And in fact, the early adopters don't expect you to have everything. What they expect you to have is to have one core product loop and some sort of daily use that will actually help them get the result consistently every single day. So you want to actually focus on the how. And then when you have these three established and you build a product, then you're going to need to test. Now there's two ways to test this, two ways to really know if you've hit product market fit. The one prevalent one that's been shared with a number of people, including Rahul Vora of Superhuman, and I forget who he got it from, but there's a bunch of people that talk about this, and I believe in it, is you can survey. If you have free users, you can survey them and you can ask them, how disappointed would you be if you couldn't use this product anymore? And what you want to do is have 40% of the people report they would be very disappointed. So between somewhat disappointed, not disappointed, to like disappointed to like very disappointed, you want 40% of people saying they would be very disappointed with the survey. Now, that's one way to do it. The way I like to do it is I like to build out a go-to-market machine. I like to build a go-to-market machine, and the quicker you get to revenue, the quicker you ask them for their credit card, the quicker you get them to pay, the quicker you're going to know if you are actually solving for the right who, with the right problem, and with the right product, because nothing actually can hide the fact that you're making money. Otherwise, surveys, people can lie. When you're doing customer discovery, people will lie to you because they're nice, but nothing can lie when it comes to measuring revenue and churn. So that's why in my SaaS school, my SaaS go-to-market program, I get founders, no matter what stage they're in, even in the early stage, to build out their unstoppable sales funnel early and start to test if they can actually charge for this, if they can pre-buy, get people to pre-buy for this, if they can get people to commit to paying for this, because that's how you'll really know that what you're building is an important and urgent problem for a very specific group of people, and the product actually gets them the result that they want. So to recap, if you are wanting to navigate the path to product market fit, it's this Shawshank Crawl that we all go through, then be sure to first ask who are you serving? Then you want to ask what is the urgent and important problem that they have that you're looking to solve? Then it's the how, what is the core product loop that they will use daily that will solve it for them? And then test it, get them into the product and either survey them or charge them money and monitor churn. And that way you'll know if they are lying to you or you really have product market fit and it's time to go make it go boom. So that's all I have for you today. That's the process that I follow. It's the process I recommend. That's the process we go much more deeper into in our SaaS go-to-market program. It's my coaching program for SaaS founders. So if you're interested in working with me to actually dig deeper into these and get my training and work with me to drive to product market fit, then go to tkkader.com/GTM. We are accepting new founders into the program. You'll get all the details over there, and I'll link to it below as well. Also, if you are building out your SaaS business, I believe every SaaS business should have a one-page growth strategy, a strategy to grow. It forces you to answer some strategic questions, and these are part of them. So be sure to check out my 5-point startup strategy guide. In it, I go into details on how to get into defining the right strategy for your business, asking the right questions, and link to more of my videos so you can start to get a feel for what it looks like to work with me. That's all I have for you today. I want to thank you guys for joining. If you got value from this video, please smash that like button so that the YouTube algorithm knows that we're creating valuable content. And if you got value from this and you have a fellow SaaS founder that would get value from this as well, or your co-founder would, please share it with them. Share it with your Slack group, the WhatsApp group that you're part of with other founders. It would mean the world to me and my team. And lastly, I bring you a video every single Sunday, Wednesday, and Friday. So be sure to the subscribe button and that bell icon if you haven't already, so that you get notified every single time I drop an episode. Lastly, remember, everyone needs a strategy for their life and their business, but when you are with us, yours is going to be unstoppable. I'm TK, and I'll see you in the next episode.